Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Future of Work. We have today with us Rajesh Balaji, who currently is the Group Head of HR with Bharat Matrimonial and is also a board member there. Rajesh has more than 25 years of work experience ranging from consulting, banking to platform-based new age D2C industry. Thank you so much, Rajesh, for accepting our invite and joining with us. Thank you once again.
Thanks,
so Rajesh,
thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So Rajesh, with the number of options available today to employees, be it hybrid, remote, work from home, office anywhere, satellite offices, there are so many options. What's your thoughts on the evolving work culture?
See, in the last 2 years, things have changed dramatically. I remember when 4-5 years ago, if there is any kind of a BCP situation, a huge amount of planning that was required, right? Asking people to, we'll arrange a bus and we send them to our Bangalore office from Chennai. I remember in 2019 or 2018, there was a flood situation in Chennai, where when I was working for Standard Chartered Bank, we organized a bus for people from Chennai office to go all the way to Bangalore and log in from Bangalore office. It's a huge nightmare. But things have taken a 180-degree shift in the way we operate and the way we deliver. At the end of the day, the way I look at it, for the organization and the employee point of view, it's a win-win kind of a ecosystem that has been created in the last 2.5 years post-pandemic situation. What it means to the culture of the organization is you become much more open. Let me give you an example what I mean by being open. We have a very strong product team at matrimony.com. So what we do is we traditionally we used to hire people from within Chennai because we wanted the product team, which is a brain of the organization, to work in a very, very closed environment for knowledge reasons and all, for better monitoring of how things are working. But the last 2 years, things have changed to big time. Anybody can deliver from anywhere. So we hire people across the country. We hire people who are working. So we are able to attract the best talent. And that best talent brings in its own set of advantages. Like we look for talent which is not mobile, but they are the greatest. They bring the great mindset from the deliverable point of view. So culturally, what happens now? We started to have a mixed set of people rather than a homogeneous environment. Your organization is getting wider from the thinking point of view. That helps the organization from the growth point of view, right? So that's where companies like Micrographio kind of an organization come very, very handy for us and then help us to identify small offices and set up a 5-seater centers or 10-seater centers, and very easy for us to handle. We don't have to look for offices or anything. It's self-managed serviced offices, so it comes handy for us. At the end of the day, we are a knowledge organization. We need talent, and COVID broke all the boundaries. Micrographio kind of an organization comes very handy to match talent and workplace.
Awesome. Thank you, Rajesh. So with this change, especially from an HR perspective, have you observed any behavioral and demand change of the workforce? And if yes, then what's your suggestion to manage that?
There is a lot. I mean, what happened is the behavioral change in a very, very positive way. And what I mean by that is a lot more accountability people take now. So we are a, let's say, again, I'm coming back to the product example. We are a product team of around 20 people, very small niche team, which is a high-end knowledge workers. So what happens is when they were coming to office and then working, they're restricted to a certain set of time because they have their own constraint to go back home and all this stuff. Now they are very distributed. So what happened in their minds, they are free, saying that, I don't have to waste my time in traffic and then come all the way and then restrict myself to 8 to 10 hours of work, which is filled with meetings. Now I design my day, right? I operate the way that I wanted to operate. Everybody is calendar-based operation now. And there's no time limit. So my accountability is tenfold now than what it used to be. The concept of manager is slowly eroding because every individual takes up their ownership and accountability in the deliverable. So I would say that there's a behavior change in a very positive way.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So now let's come to this topic of moonlighting and stuff. So we've been hearing this a lot in the last couple of weeks, months and all. What's your thoughts on that? Moonlighting, this gig economy, freelancing and all. So is that a definition of employees changing today? Like today, employees are not willing to get bound by the company's rules of, they're not interested in PF or gratuity or anything. They're saying, just leave me, thanks. I'll finish the work and that's it. So what's from a human resource perspective, how receptive are you on this?
See, before I give my views on from the human resource perspective, this is my thinking based on whatever that I have read. But let's come to the word moonlighting, right? Why do we term that as moonlighting? Because in the daylight you work somewhere, in the moonlight you work somewhere. So that's how this moonlighting as a concept have come. Is this new for us? I don't think it is new at all, right? I'll give you an example where 40, 50 years ago, a lot of my friends, 50 years ago, what happened was our parents and grandparents were working for survival, right? And if I consider my children now, they have huge amount of choices, but 50 years ago there wasn't choice, and the family is a large family. So I know my own friends circle, their fathers, they work as accountant in the morning and they do the same accountancy job for some other business in the evening, right? And so technically they have 15 hours a day they'll be working because they have a large family to cater. The owners of both the organization never bothered about it. So the moonlighting as a concept was there even before. Now we are terming it as moonlighting. Let me now cut that and then let's come to the current and the future. The world is moving towards more and more knowledge economy, right? So when your dependency on machine, 1960s, 70s, it's more machinery based economy, right? 1990s, 2000 were all human driven economy, and 2020 to 2050 is knowledge based economy. When you're moving towards that economy, what happens is your dependency on a particular individual, the skills they bring in, the knowledge they bring in become extremely important for an organization growth. So when your dependency is on that particular aspect of a human being, then the organizations will become more and more flexible to cater to that individual's need and demand, right? So organization eventually will sculpt itself to cater to the demands of the knowledge workers. And what happens to the knowledge workers' point of view? Why would I spend my entire 10 hours in an organization where I only have 4 hours of work? So I'd rather become a freelancer and work for 3 different organizations, right? and gain my knowledge and further enhance my knowledge rather than spending my entire 10 hours in an organization. It will eventually move in that direction, and that's what we are seeing now. Imagine a data scientist working for a bank. There might be a restrictions that the data scientist should not be working for another bank, but a data scientist can work for an internet-based company. A data scientist can work for a retail company. So 5 hours he work for bank, 5 hours he work for retail. So we call this a moonlighting. I think it's knowledge sharing economy is where we are edging towards.
Interesting perspective. So another very, very close to my heart question to you. How do you see this change in work culture impacting women in workplace today?
It is big. Like for example, 60% of our population are women. It brings in a huge difference in the way in the way things are getting executed. Yeah, let me tell you, when this kind of micro offices come, satellite offices come, we are able to tap a large number of workforce, especially the women workforce who are not able to be mobile, right? And that talent contributes a lot, and they come in with a different perspective. The design is different, and I mean, this is basically men and women are designed differently. So how we tap that potential more for the benefit of the organization, at the end of the day, it is a benefit for the society, which will evolve, because when more and more women workforce come into the mainstream, right? And this model of organization like yours is going to support bringing them into the mainstream. It will benefit the society. It will benefit the organization. It will benefit the individual, and finally, it benefits the family, right? So what happens eventually, the world will become a better place to work.
So awesome. So just related question, from a sustainability point of view, employee retention, reduction in operating cost, do you think that taking offices closer to hometowns like Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities is a better alternative?
I would definitely say it is a good alternative. There are some constraints that includes it's more of a technological constraints of managing work, monitoring work, finding a process and arriving at a process and platforms for deliverables. I think as much as remote working has happened, I think our infrastructure, the technical infrastructure, is not caught up yet to cater to that requirement. Yeah, Zoom and Teams are fine. That's fine, but there's much more than that. So interestingly, what happened? This transition has taken place much faster, right? So when this transition has taken place much faster, the technology is not able to catch up with that kind of a fast transition of remote working. But there are organizations which are coming up with a game-changing technology to manage the deliverable process, to monitor work, because a lot of sensitive data are involved, and you can't take those data for granted. So I think if we pass through the technology barriers, this will become 100% reality. Currently, I would say that it is a forced reality, but then it will eventually, we are going in that direction.
Rajesh, one last question. I know you sort of crossed our time, but just one last question. Again, we are talking so much about layoffs and everything. It's, some sad news is almost every day something comes up. We started off with Twitter, Meta, Facebook, and now Amazon. Right? What do you think is the social impact for people who have been impacted, especially for people, countries like us, India? And what would be your advice for them to manage this situation?
I would look at it in a different way. I would want to take an example of economics into consideration here, right? In a country like us, so we are quoting examples of Amazon or Twitter or Facebook layoffs, etc. That Apple stopped hiring and all this stuff. But interestingly, what happens is whenever a massive country like America goes on a path of slowdown or a recession, right? It only benefits a country like India. Historically, this is what has happened. There are two reasons to it. One is when there is a sign of recession, the first thing is that happens is the oil prices go down. And India as a country, we spend huge amount of money in oil, right? When oil prices go down, it directly benefits us, because when oil prices go down, then your all associated costs in a country like us goes down. So it benefits millions and millions of people, number one. Number two, tech organizations will start to rationalize their spend. And what it means is more and more jobs would come and hit country like India, because we still have the cost advantage vis-a-vis the developed nations. We started off a cost arbitrage country in the early 90s. We continue to have that cost arbitrage. We will have that cost arbitrage for next decade or so. So till we have that cost arbitrage, we will continue to have more and more roles coming in. But then as a country, we're preparing ourselves. We know that the cost arbitrage game will not work beyond a particular point, but we as a country are getting much more intelligent. We are becoming much more smarter. We are now started to play the knowledge game, which nobody else in the world can ignore us in the future. So we are in a very, very sweet spot at this point of time, starting from 1991, as we speak, 2022, or the years ahead.
Wow, what an interesting perspective, Rajesh. Thank you so much, Rajesh. It was really wonderful talking to you, hearing all your new, fresh perspective. And frankly, it was a lot learning for me too. Thanks you so much.
Thanks, Priya. Thank you. Good talking to you.
Same here. Thank you so much.